All right, so an interesting, well thought out take from Bernie Sanders here. That's sarcasm. And Sanders is saying that he did not hear Trump complaining when he received the best socialized medical care in the world for free at a 100% government-run hospital when he got COVID, of course. Now, here's a few interesting things to say about this. First off, just an observation, when you speak with socialists, the real ones that might have read a bit more socialistic literature than your average Sanders supporter, if you say to them you don't like socialism because you don't want government-run industries, you'll often find them saying that socialism is not about government taking over everything. And now, okay, I know why they say that, because textbook socialism or communism is at least looking forward to a stateless society. But of course this is ridiculous, because in order to impose democratic or common ownership of the means of production, you need a monolithic, violent entity to impose such rules on people, so spare me with that socialism doesn't mean government control rhetoric. And not for nothing, you have got the leading socialist in the US right here, heaping nothing but praise and admiration on a government-run health facility, and he wants that to be available to all people in the US, which sounds nice, but it isn't really, and this leads me to my next point. Sanders here is saying, look at Trump. He had access to the best doctors, the best technology, and the best care, and it was all government-run and government-funded. Or rather, the way Sanders puts it, he said it was free. Which, yes, it's unbelievable, but people like Bernie Sanders have still not gotten the memo that this is not free. We all know that's complete nonsense. You are forced, through the threat of violence, to pay for it. That is the undeniable reality behind it. But of course, Sanders wants to obscure that fact and just say it's free when it clearly is not. But anyway, Sanders is saying Trump had access to the best medical care, and meanwhile Trump is criticizing socialized medicine and saying he doesn't want Medicare for all. And Sanders' point is that Trump wants socialized medicine for himself, but rugged individualism for everyone else. Now, first of all, that's not really socialized medicine when it's just for politicians, because socialized medicine inherently refers to society. Politicians are antithetical to society. So besides that point, the meaning behind this, of course, is that Trump wants the best care for himself, but not for you. And if you would just elect more socialists, then you would have free access to that top quality medical care just like Trump had. So here's the astronomically huge problem that should be obvious to anyone with a half-functioning mind. Yes, the government is fully capable of providing top quality doctors, technology, pharmaceuticals, and care to the political elite. The problem comes in when they try and give that to hundreds of millions of people. At the moment they do that, now they are going to have to deal with a functionally infinite number of variables, constantly changing needs and circumstances, constantly changing quantities of supply, and a consistent change in demand for a huge number of different factors, different technologies, different medications, different ailments, different care facilities, etc., etc., etc. It would be impossible for them to do. And as benevolent as their promises may seem, they will fail and we will suffer for it. For example, both Joseph Stalin and Lenin both got some of the best care in the world at the time that they had their strokes. Or Kim Jong-un recently faced severe health problems. I have no doubt in my mind that he had access to top-notch surgeons and great healthcare facilities. That is not impressive to me, the fact that North Korea is able to provide great care for Kim Jong-un. No one doubts that government is capable of extorting wealth from society and providing themselves with great products and services. That is very easy to do for a government, and it doesn't matter how corrupt or inefficient they are, they can do that. But you try and run an entire industry, that's when you start seeing the failures. Hell, notice Sanders does not bring up the VA in this video. That's 100% government run, and it's a disaster. So if you want a snapshot at what you'll get with a 100% government run healthcare industry, go look at those numbers or talk to some veterans. It's certainly no utopian level of all-encompassing care. Its backlogs are a mile long with people being left untreated. And even if, by the way, even if the VA was merely average, that should still frighten the hell out of people, because if government can only handle providing average medical care to a relatively small percentage of the population, just imagine the decrease in quality they'll be handing out when they take on an entire nation. But here's another interesting thing to point out that is not pointed out nearly enough anymore. What is always said about most people outside the democratic or socialistic circles, whether it's Trump, his supporters, libertarians that don't like lockdowns and mask mandates, etc., well, we are told that they're all irresponsible. They don't protect themselves or others. They don't want to fall in line, wear a mask, socially distance themselves, etc. Now, this is, of course, nonsense, but that's what we're accused of being, irresponsible when it comes to health and safety. Okay, so why then, as a socialist, would you want to have to pay for my irresponsibility? You would be on the hook for my supposedly poor decisions. It's weird that they are incapable of connecting these dots in their own head, because that's what I and many others have done. Outside of COVID, I don't want to pay for someone who lives like Donald Trump, who is likely medicated to the hilt and doesn't take care of his body. He's overweight. I don't think he exercises. He eats too much fast food. I mean, hell, didn't he have some McDonald's banquet in the White House? Cool. I mean, you do you, but I don't want to pay for it when you have a heart attack from massive sodium consumption. So to Bernie Sanders here specifically, isn't it odd that Sanders is advocating for socialized medicine instead of individualism? So that means we are all on the hook for everyone else's health, while at the same time Bernie Sanders and his supporters cannot stop condemning massive segments of the population for being supposedly horribly irresponsible with their health and the health of those around them. So that is something that Sanders supporters need to understand and think about. If you are an advocate for Medicare for all, then you are going to be on the hook for all those people that you consider to be reprehensibly irresponsible with their health. It's a very important point that I don't think that they've thought through at all. But, the nourishment of the socialists is the ignorance of the people who support them, and that's generally the way it goes. But that is all for now. Like and subscribe, and take it easy.